What's up? Welcome to another draft. Playing some more Vintage Cube today. This pack has a couple signets. They're both blue signets, which is a good color to be in. I like to play a lot of blue also. Griselbrand is a decent card. It's one of the best reanimation targets, one of the best sneak attack targets too. Not really something I try to first pick though. Not a great blue card in this pack. Jace Beleren, it's decent. So nothing's really popping out at me here. I think I'll just take Izzet Signet. It's probably the best color combo to use a Signet in, blue-red rather than blue-green. And it can go in a lot of different decks. So I could take Thran Dynamo and then try to go for a big mana deck. I don't think that archetype is amazing, but it can be pretty fun, just depending on how open it is. There's not really a good blue option here. Just Gearhulk and Dig Through Time. Reanimate would have been a good follow-up to Griselbrand, but given we have the Signet, I think I'll take Thran Dynamo. See if we can play an Upheaval deck, or maybe just an Artifact deck or a Ramp deck. Seems like the highest upside out of that pack for me. So here's a Splinter Twin, which it would go well with the Izzet Signet. There's also Opposition, which is just a really good card. It's going to be better in the blue-green deck. I think it's kind of hard to put that deck together, though, because you need to play blue-green and you need to get really good mana to cast Opposition, so I don't love just taking that card early. I can also just take Walking Ballista, which would go in the Artifact deck, and it's good with my Thran Dynamo. If I take Splinter Twin, I'm pretty much abandoning the Thran Dynamo. I think I should just take the Splinter Twin, though. Walking Ballista I don't think it's as high enough of a payoff to just take that. Whereas Splinter Twin, it's really powerful if I can get that deck going. If I'm going to take a blue card, I like Time Warp more than Control Magic. Control Magic's fine, but I would maybe even have it as a sideboard card sometimes. Green looks to be a little bit open. I've seen some green cards so far, but just given that I have the Splinter Twin, I'm going to go towards blue-red and see how that goes. So Misty Rainforest is going to be a pretty good land. It can go in my blue-red deck, or maybe I'll switch over into blue-green if it turns out to be super open. Smuggler's Copter is a good card. I could just take that. I don't really like Thing in the Ice or Gifts Ungiven. Sun Titan and Wrath of God are decent, but I'm not really looking at white right now. I think I'll just take the Misty Rainforest and stay a little bit open. So this is a late Fractured Identity. This card's just really strong. And white seems to be open, just given what I saw in the last pack. So I'm going to take the Fractured Identity. Maybe we can play Jeskai. Or I can just go into blue-white. I don't have to play the Splinter Twin. So Arid Mesa will help me kind of no matter which of these archetypes I end up in. And then there's a bunch of average cards in this pack. I like Repeal. It's just a solid, versatile card. Thundermaw Hellkite is pretty good, but I also think it's replaceable, so I'll take the land. We're seeing another Wrath of God effect. Not seeing a lot of red cards passed. It's possible I should just take this Day of Judgment and move in on white and hope to get past some white Planeswalkers in the next pack. Then I'll have a pretty good Time Warp deck. So that seems good. Arcane Artisan, I don't love that card. Yeah, I think I'll take Godless Shrine. I could end up in Esper. Blue doesn't seem really open, so maybe it'll be more of a splash in my deck. And I'm not going to take Char, even though it's a solid red card. It's just really, really replaceable. The same thing goes for Elspeth. Very replaceable top end. I'll take Colonnade, which is solid card. I want some mana fixing too. I don't think I'm going to be playing Armageddon. Probably won't play any of these cards. I guess I still have outs to to be an upheaval deck. I might end up playing black, like as one of my main colors even. So should I take Sun Titan or Anguished Unmaking? I don't love Sun Titan. So red is really not open. Blue's also not very open. So it looks like the Splinter Twin idea is not going to get there. And it looks like I'm going to get past some strong white cards in this pack and the pack afterwards. So I have lots of options. I'll just take Vendilion Clique here. Really good card in a blue-white control deck. I'm not going to take the Signet, even though it is possible that I get Upheaval, and then I could play some Armageddon Upheaval style deck. Wow, there's some strong cards here. Mana Drain and Cryptic, I really like both of those cards. I have to just take Mana Drain though. Path to Exile is also really good. Might be able to wheel that. But yeah, let's just take Mana Drain and lock up the fact that we're playing blue. We're going to have to play a good amount of blue sources. There's a few good cards here for my deck. I think Brazen Borrower is the best one because the bounce effect is, there's not that many bounce effects in this cube, so it's really nice to have access to against Reanimator or whatever. And whereas this Gideon effect, I can get that with a few more cards, and I think white's really open, so Gideon might even table. And Brazen Borrower is really good with my Mana Drain and with my Vendilion Clique. Gideon is good with my Time Warp though, but I think that's okay. We'll find some cards to work with the Time Warp. And yeah, I'm happy with the color combination we're in right now. I guess I don't need to play black, or I can just splash black if I want to. So I need to keep my eyes out for Mana Drain payoffs. I guess Urza is one. This is a pretty tough pick. I wonder if Geist will wheel out of this pack. I think it's possible. This is a really strong pack. It's not like I have a bunch of artifacts to go with Urza. I think I'm going to take the Urza, but this definitely might be a mistake. So if I take Steam Vents, that turns my Arid Mesa into a dual land. Or I just have Riftwing Cloudscape, which is a really strong blue card. I feel like my mana is going to be good. I'm just going to take the Cloudscape. I just like that card too much. So here's my chance to take a Planeswalker with Gideon. Or I can take Revoker, which is a decent interactive card. I think I actually just want Revoker. I don't have a lot of early plays, and I kind of have some things to do with my mana in the late game already with Fractured Identity, Time Warp, activating Urza. So I really like Banishing Light effects in this cube because it can just deal with so many different permanents. Sower is also okay. Sower is a little tricky when I have like Wrath of God in my deck. I'll just take the Banishing Light for that reason. And I don't love giving my opponents targets for their removal. Impulse looks okay here. Sword is also decent, but I don't have a ton of creatures, and I don't think I need help winning the game with this deck. Land Attacks is like an okay sideboard card. So it's either that or Wall of Omens, which is also a pretty good sideboard card, just against like mono red. I think Land Tax is a little more likely to be valuable. Recruiter of the Guard has a few targets in my deck. I think I'll just take the Jite though, because it's really good against creature decks. Even though I don't have a ton of things to attach it to, like it can be really good in the sideboard. So I could try to splash this Toxic Deluge. I don't think I need to though, because I already have Day of Judgment. I really don't like Brimaz. So Geist Wield. Yeah, I just have to take that. I think I'm happy to have it in my deck. Yeah, Brimaz is just a little bit too hard to cast on turn 3 in this deck, I think. And my mana is actually not great right now. I have Celestial Colonnade and 2 fetch lands, but no Tundra or Hallowed Fountain to get yet. Not sure if I can play this Anguished Unmaking. And I ended up not wheeling any of those white planeswalkers that I passed. So still hoping to get some planeswalkers this pack. So here's the Hallowed Fountain, which would give me, it turns on 2 of my fetch lands. Or there's Karn, which is a solid planeswalker. Yeah, I think I just have to take the Hallowed Fountain, and now my mana is like really good. And even though I want Karn in my deck, but we can replace that. So here's Teferi, which is one of the planeswalkers I'm actually looking to get, just because it's cheaper and it does a little bit more than just like create creatures, which is what like those 2 Gideons do. There's also a Dak, but I don't want to try and splash red right now. I just have the Arid Mesa. Little Jace is also a good card. It can flash back Fractured Identity or Time Warp, so Little Jace is pretty good in this deck. Spellseeker is also solid, just to get mana drain mostly. But yeah, I'll just take Teferi. Seems like the best card for me. I could have passed Teferi and tried to table it. So I could have taken Jace, would have been my second pick. So that was a close one, actually. There's really nothing I can take out of this pack. So I'll take Thief of Sanity, which maybe I can splash. At this point, I'm probably not playing Thran Dynamo in my deck. Day of Judgment is kind of not amazing either. I don't really have any card draw with this deck. The deck is shaking out a little bit weird. I think I have to take Force of Negation out of this pack. Like, I passed that Jace Beleren early, even first pick of this draft. And so I guess someone's playing a blue control deck and I'm getting more of the blue creatures. So I can take Sundering Titan and try to cast it off of Mana Drain. Or I can take my second Oblivion Ring. I kind of like just speculating on the Sundering Titan. Angel of Invention is okay. Fire Ice is okay. I don't have a way to use the fire right now. I don't really like Angel of Invention as a card, though. I think it might be necessary to take, though, just given what my deck looks like. So here's Faith's Fetters, which kind of fills the role of that Oblivion Ring that I passed. So I think this deck is missing cheap removal, like Swords to Plowshares, and it's missing card draw. There are some things I'm happy about, like I have a lot of interaction with my Cloudskate, Teferi, Brazen Borrower, Vendilion Click, and I do have Mana Drain, which is one of the best counters in the cube, so the deck has some things going for it. I do have some flyers, so Moat, I'm going to take it. Condemn is going to be playable in the creature matchups. I might have to main deck it. I am short on playables right now. I guess I can play Jite. It's just really not great, though. I would rather have the Sword of Fire and Ice that I passed earlier, but... So here I can either take Spellseeker or Stonecoil Serpent. I think I actually just want Serpent. Yeah, Serpent is really good with Mana Drain. Okay, that was actually a really good pickup. So yeah, I have 2 black cards in my deck. So I'm definitely light on playables. I guess I'll have to play these black cards. Maybe I can take the Day of Judgment out of my deck. So this is 22 cards. I have 2 black cards in my deck and a Sundering Titan, which is also not great. Possible cards that I can put in are Jitte. I guess I kind of have to play Jitte at this point. I could play another land. I could just play 18 lands. Yeah, I'm just missing a few playables. I'm gonna put Day of Judgment in the sideboard. I guess Spectral Procession is a card that I can cast. Should I play land tax over another land? That way it like searches for my swamp in my deck. Land tax is just not going to be that good if I'm on the play though. I don't really think I can play Thran Dynamo. It's just so bad. I mean, it's good with Urza, Stone Coil, and Sundering Titan. That's 3 cards. Sundering Titan just looks not that great in my 3-colored deck as well. So Thran Dynamo like powers up my expensive cards, but land tax helps me find fixing for my 2 black cards. I think I'll go with the land tax, or maybe I'll just play 18 lands. Let's just play 18 lands. I'll put in land tax when I'm on the draw. So after thinking about this deck for a minute, I think I'm going to make some changes. I have this Anguished Unmaking in the deck, which is on the splash, and I don't exactly need that effect. I already have Banishing Light, Faith's Fetters, Mana Drain. I have some interaction. I have a couple bounce spells, like Anguished Unmaking is not worth splashing in this deck. So I think I'm just going to play Armageddon, and then I'm going to take out one of the swamps, and I'm going to put land attacks in my deck. So now I have like a Armageddon land tax combo. It's kind of janky, but this deck is kind of janky, so like we'll see if that works. I don't think I have any better options than doing this plan. On the play here, this hand looks pretty good. Signet into Urza. The reason I was saying this deck is kind of janky is like it's just trying to do a couple of different things. Like it's not a great Urza deck because it doesn't have a lot of artifacts in it. It's not a great Armageddon deck. It's kind of like an aggro control deck, and I've not had great success with that archetype in Cube. So playing against green, Jitte is going to be pretty good. I'll probably be looking to do that the turn after I play Urza. We'll see if it's fast enough. It's looking like it's might not be. Opponent has a lot of mana acceleration. So I can play Urza or Stone Coil Serpent. I don't think I need to like attack for a ton of damage, so I think I should just put the Urza into play. So I'm gonna get 2 Jitte counters next turn, most likely. Just need my opponent to not do anything crazy this turn. Okay, they're playing blue-green. So I think my best bet here is just to take out the Raphelos and the Birds of Paradise. Okay, my opponent's gonna preemptively block. I'm not sure if this is really great for the opponent because it's gonna let me keep one GTA counter and then I can build that up and kill their tireless tracker eventually. But yeah, this block seems okay because I'm not gonna have good attacks next turn. So I have 2 counters. My opponent has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 6 mana next turn. 3 cards in hand. If I equip my Urza, I can pump it next turn to have 6 toughness, so the tireless tracker won't be able to kill it. I think just using the counter seems too good here. If I can disrupt my opponent at all, I think I need to take that option. Keep them off of mana, which they can use to crack their clues, and then find more lands to then make more clues. So I'm going to start by attacking. My opponent can block here and kill my Urza if they double block. So I'm not sure if my opponent saw this line coming. So I could impulse here and try to find a counterspell to stop my opponent from doing something, but I think just putting a big Stonecoil Serpent into play seems good. Interesting that my opponent's playing 3 colors in their Raphelos deck. Not really sure what sort of top end they have yet, what I should be looking out for. They are taking damage off this Ancient Tomb. Okay, they have Wake in their deck. So they have a ton of mana, and now they've drawn a bunch of cards. I do have Celestial Colonnade in play, though, so they're going to have to block with their Knight of the Reliquary. But my opponent's to the point where they can like cast an Eldrazi next turn. Okay, it looks like my opponent's going to cast something. Arbor Elf. Okay, so they're going to chump with the Arbor Elf. I might have lethal here. Let's see. So the Colonnade takes 5 mana. I do have enough mana to equip my Jitte to a different creature. So let's say I put the Jite on the Stonecoil Serpent. It becomes a 9/9. My opponent blocks 2 of it. They take 7. They go to 5. They take 4 from Colonnade, 1 from Urza. So I think I have exactly lethal. So I was a little lucky to be on the play in that game. My opponent had a really fast start, but so did I. So this is the type of matchup where Moat could end up being good, but I need to see more of my opponent's deck to figure that out. Toxic Deluge is definitely good. I'm wondering maybe this land tax plan is just not good. Should just try to bring in the Toxic Deluge, which is great against all their X1s. Or just Day of Judgment. Yeah, Toxic Deluge kills a lot of my creatures as well, even if it's just on 1. Let's bring in the Day of Judgment. I'm going to be on the draw, so this is when land tax is actually good. And I'll take out Faith's Fetters. They're probably going to be attacking me, so Condemn is just a little bit more efficient. Force of Negation might be weak, but it can counter Wake. I saw that. It might have other good targets. I would like to play Toxic Deluge, but it's just hard for me to cast it. This hand looks pretty good. We will see if they are able to play around the land tax. I mean, they might be able to, given they have mana dorks in their deck, but if I can just land tax into Day of Judgment, that seems good. I'll get my Godless Shrine. Guess I didn't need to do that because I'm going to search for my basics with land tax, but it seems all right. So opponent will have a tough spot here. Should they play a land, or will they just pass? If they can't develop the board anymore, then I might just pass back to them. And we can just get locked in that stalemate for a little bit. But that's not necessarily terrible for me. Well, that was not passing the turn back. They played 2 lands. So yeah, I just need to cast Day of Judgment as soon as possible. I don't really need to impulse for anything. So I'll just suspend the Cloudskate. Opponent's drawing Ugin. Do they really not have any more lands? Yeah, surely they have plenty of lands. So next turn, they have 8 mana, so they can cast Ugin next turn. I don't really think there's anything I can do about that unless I draw something here. I could have played an island and bluffed a counterspell, but I think I want to have this colonnade in play to eventually attack the Ugin. There's really just not much I can do here. I just have to let my opponent play out their hand, cast my Wrath of God, eventually bounce the Ugin. Maybe I can counterspell it on the way down, so I can impulse here and try to find a counterspell. But yeah, if I can find my mana drain and then play my Sundering Titan off of it, that's one way to get back in this game. But my opponent's just going off, and I have 3 lands in play, so it's not looking amazing. Yeah, that land destruction is really effective here. Are they going to be able to play Ugin, though? Let's see. So we didn't find anything, but there's a Signet, so I'll just take that. It might help me. Okay, they played Hydroid Krasis instead of Ugin. I'm going to keep searching out my lands. I'm at 15 life. Stonecoil Serpent is going to be good against that Krasis. I still pretty much just need to cast Wrath. So I'm just going to Signet and pass the turn again. So I'm going to be able to Cloud Skate and bounce something and then Time Warp. That might be decent. Opponent is drawing Avenger of Zendikar. That's also going to be a problem. I just have the 1 Wrath of God. So I'm pretty much forced to Wrath of God here. I'm going to keep searching out my lands. It's really going to help me if I can draw the right answer. I guess Force of Negation is what I'm looking to draw. Okay, I drew Armageddon. I'm at 8. Yeah, it's just not going to work out. I pretty much just need to... Let's see. So I have 5 mana right now. So yeah, I'm just going to have to Time Warp. Hope that I draw something good. On my next turn, which I need to draw a counterspell. So I have 2 counterspells in the deck. We drew Teferi. So I can use that to bounce the Ugin. That might work. My opponent's at 10. So I can cast a 2/2 Stonecoil Serpent. Does that do anything? They have access to Avenger of Zendikar next turn. We're both at 8. Well, I'm never going to get enough mana to cast the Sundering Titan. So yeah, I think I may have made a mistake taking all the lands out of my deck. The Armageddon doesn't look like it's going to really help me because I have I have no more lands left in my deck. So if I destroy all my mana, then I just can't do anything after it. They're playing the Avenger instead of playing the Ugin. I was hoping they would play the Ugin, yeah. I think I had more outs against that. So I cannot do a ton here. I can play Urza and play Geist. Yeah, I'm just going to be dead to the Ugin that's in their hand that's going to do 5 damage to me. And I can't race them either. Just thinking if there's a way I can win with like Geist plus activate Colonnade plus somehow have Teferi in play to bounce their Birds of Paradise, I could attack them for 8. The only possible way to do that is to get the Geist in play. And get the Teferi into play, but not minus it. Might as well play this. So this isn't a real plan, but maybe I have like 1% chance to win this game. I guess I'm going to be forced to chump, really, so with my Geist, so this is just not going to work out. Yeah, I don't think I have a great matchup. I'm at 5. Yeah, I'm just dead, actually. So Moat does seem effective against my opponent. They didn't show me any way to destroy it yet. They showed me Beast Within and Ugin, actually. So yeah, Moat's just never good. I think I do need to bring in the Toxic Deluge. It's just so good. So I'll bring in another Swamp. I might want to just take out the Armageddon. Yeah, Armageddon can't be good against this opponent. Faith's Fetters seems fine though. It's at least an answer to Ugin. Condemn. Yeah, Condemn seems fine. They have stuff like Pelucranos. Still like the Jite. Sundering Titan seems pretty weak. But my options to play besides it are just not great. Anguished Unmaking would be fine, but it's pretty hard to cast. Sundering Titan's just so bad, so I'm going to take it out. Could just play another land. Or just get greedy and put in the Anguished Unmaking. I'll just keep the Sundering Titan. Comboing it with Mana Drain is like a way I can win this game. Besides that, like, I don't like my other options. Okay, this hand looks great. I have all the mana I need, and I have Toxic Deluge. We'll see if we can get the timing right so I don't kill my Cloudskate. I'm probably just going to want to fire off the Deluge on turn 3. Oh wow, they have turn 1 Library. So we're going to play a different type of game. I can use Faith's Fetters on it. This is a pretty tricky spot. I'm not sure if I want to even use my Vendilion Click. Yeah, I'm gonna hold it till the late game, and I'm gonna count on needing to fire this Toxic Deluge off in the next 2 to 3 turns. Next turn, I'll probably use Faith's Fetters on the Library of Alexandria. It'll still leave me... I still have Fractured Identity that can deal with an Ugin or something like that. And maybe Click can also come down in the late game before my opponent gets to like the critical 6, 7, or 8 mana. But if I just cast Click right now into my opponent's 8 cards, I doubt that I could disrupt them effectively. We'll see how much they play into Wrath. Okay, so Wake is pretty good against what I'm doing. I still don't think I want to play Click. I'm just going to stick with the plan. The library is still active, so yeah, I'm gonna take it out. We'll see if my opponent can do anything really good with all this mana. Ugin is actually great for me. Into Raphelos. Yeah, this Fractured Identity is just insane right now. So I'll bounce the Wake. Fractured Identity on Ugin. Deal damage to Raphelos. And now I have an Ugin, which my opponent can't attack for a while, and if they play a bunch of creatures, I can Toxic Deluge them away. So that showcases the power of Fractured Identity. Probably the single best card you could use it on in the cube is Ugin. Maybe that's not true, but it's close. It's up there. Opponent's taking a lot of damage from their mana base. Metamorph on Cloudskate, destroying my Ugin. Not bad. So I can Wrath away the board right now and then click my opponent on their draw step. I kind of feel like I have to take that line. So yeah, it's going to come down to how many threats my opponent has. Let's see. Wow, okay. So Upheaval is a blank. Krasis is a bomb right now. I just have to take the Krasis. And it's possible I could race the Avenger of Zendikar, but let's see. Mirari's Wake plus Avenger is actually really good too. So let's see how much mana my opponent has. Well, they definitely have enough to cast it, even without using Ancient Tomb. They'll get 5 creatures, which will have 1 power. So I can't really race that. But Hydroid Krasis, hold on. They can't cast Hydroid Krasis either. So yeah, I think I have to take Avenger and hope that my opponent does not hit blue mana. Yeah, I don't like my spot just giving them Avenger, so don't love my chances here. Just because I also don't have a lot of good outs going forward. I guess Geist is a pretty good one. If they hit blue mana, they will have double blue. If they cast Krasis, that probably just has to be game. They'll gain so much life and refill their hand, so their next turns will be great. And I'm just going to be drawing into not much. I've used up my Fractured Identity and one of my Wraths. I have some like 1-for-1 removal left in my deck, but wow, so they drew another blank. I feel pretty lucky to win that game, but we'll take it. This looks like a mulligan. This hand looks pretty solid. Sundering Titan, I think, is one of the weakest cards in my deck. I'm pretty happy to just put it on the bottom of my library. I don't think I need to put the Signet into play because I'm not ramping to anything right now. Hopefully I'll be able to make some land drops in the next few turns though and get these good 5-drops out. Interesting. So some mana, but also a little creature. I felt like my opponent may have been on White Weenie, but okay, so I'm not going to keep Force of Negation out. I'm just going to put the Signet into play so that I have outs to cast one of my 5-drops next turn. Angel of Invention looks pretty good right now. Still not sure what to make of my opponent's deck. Don't usually see Adanto Vanguard and Boros Signet in the same deck. They have their own Angel of Invention. So yeah, it looks like they're playing some sort of white aggressive deck. This draw step's going to be pretty big. Let's see if we can hit a land. Geist is looking pretty bad right here. I could have left Force of Negation up. Honestly, might have been better. Because I don't think I'm going to block with my Geist this turn. So I'm taking 10 here, going down to 6. I think I'll block. I just don't need the Geist to win this game. So I'm just going to try to stay alive. Fractured Identity is such a good card that it can just win this game on its own. Like I can steal my opponent's Angel of Invention, then cast my own Angel of Invention. They work pretty well together. I'll have 2 Anthems in play. I might not be able to lose the game at that point. So that was a bad use of my Geist, but it might be what's needed to win this game. I kind of need this Fractured Identity to win the game as well, so even if my opponent plays something really good, I'm not sure if I can Force of Negation it. So I think I need to probably hit land here. I have to use my Cloud Skate before I know what my draw step will be. So I can kill the Servo or bounce the hero. I think I should just bounce the hero of Bladehold. The Servo is not going to matter. If I'm able to hit 5 lands, the Servo is going to be a 1/1, and my board will be filled with creatures bigger than that. So yeah, I'm just going to steal the Angel of Invention. And I should be pretty far ahead here. I'm gonna get servos. The Hero of Bladehold, I should be able to deal with that card as well. I'm I'm not expecting my opponent to have sweepers in their deck, given how many creatures I've seen so far. I've never had 2 Angel of Inventions in play before, but it's a pretty good feeling. Nice. So just winning another game almost entirely from Fractured Identity, I would say. Just getting the massive 2-for-1. So still not loving this deck, but okay. So as far as the sideboard plan, I'm going to be on the draw. This is a matchup where Armageddon is not going to be effective. My opponent can probably get on the board faster than me. So I'm probably going to want the sweepers. Do I want both of them? I'll take the Day of Judgment. I probably do just want both of them. My opponent's playing mono white. Like, sweepers are just insane against that archetype. So what's the other card I take out? I put in 1 swamp. The question is whether I want land tax. I think I'm just going to take it out because of the fact that my opponent has a Mox in their deck. So if they draw the Mox, it's going to negate my land tax because they'll just be able to play 2 drops and then force me to make plays to the board, or I'll just die to their little creatures. So this hand looks fine. Geist is not great in this matchup, but Angel of Invention is. And I've got all my mana, so can't complain about this hand. That was a really good draw. The sequencing is a little tricky with this deck because I do have so many creatures, but then I have 2 Wraths. So it's good to know up front like that I'm going to have access to the Wrath. So now I can set up for it. There's a second Wrath, so I'm probably going to be priced into just fire off this Toxic Deluge next turn. Let's see what my opponent plays. Okay, yeah, definitely firing off the Toxic Deluge. Just get a 2-for-1. I don't have effective blockers in my hand. Yeah, there's really just nothing else to do here. Condemn was another good draw. I can use it on this factory. Yeah, a little bit awkward because Geist and Vendilion Clique are not at their best when you are behind and you're just trying to like survive. But Clique can trade for something. It'll be a blue Doomblade. Can't argue with that. Okay, so they're just going to attack, which actually seems pretty good. And Selfless Spirit is good against my Day of Judgment. So I guess I'll just be probably blocking that with my Clique. Okay, Force of Negation might give me something good to do with my Geist. I have a lot of cards right now. I definitely have card advantage. So, yeah, no. It doesn't make sense to untap this Hallowed Fountain to leave up Condemn. If they want to use the mana to make me take 2, that's fine. I'm not going to just take the 2 up front myself. This will also give me some good information about my opponent's hand. So this is good that it resolves. Wow. Yeah, they probably should have put that Hallowed Spirit Keeper into play before combat. It's not there's 2 Vendilion Clicks in this cube. Brazen Borrower and Click can both flash in and block this Selfless Spirit. So I definitely want to take Hallowed Spirit Keeper, even though I could condemn it away before it affects my Wrath. But this seems like a good use. And then that Disenchant is pretty dead in their hand. Yeah, I think that made sense. We'll see if they drew into anything better. Signet. So I guess I'm going to be using Condemn on the Mishra's Factory, and I guess at this point I am not using the Day of Judgment. And I'm just going to get my Geist on board. And I have plenty of interaction. I have Force of Negation, and I can bounce something with Brazen Borrower, so I'm feeling pretty good right now. My opponent is flooding out a little bit. This might be a little spewy with the Condemn. Like, I could save it for a Baneslayer Angel or something, but it seems okay. This is an interesting spot. I'm not sure if I can suspend this Cloudscape, because yeah, I don't think the game's going to last long enough for that to come into play, so I guess that means I just pass the turn, and I might end up just playing a 3-1 at instant speed. It will increase my clock, so yeah, I think it makes sense to cast Brazen Borrower. Yeah, having the Cloudscape in hand is good. I can bounce a big creature later if I'm thinking of my opponent having like a Baneslayer Angel. And yeah, I can play into a Wrath here because I have Force of Negation up. Okay, that worked out great. I'm still not sure about this deck, but let's see if we can win one more match. Okay, this is the final round. Let's see if we can get a trophy with this weird blue-white aggro control deck. This hand's pretty weak. I can't get a black source with my fetch. And then Armageddon is one of my weaker cards. And it didn't seem to work in that hand, so yeah, I'll just mulligan that. This hand looks fine. Thief of Sanity is a really good card, but I think it makes sense there to put it on bottom with just the 3 black sources in my deck. The rest of my hand looks good. Well, that's a good start from my opponent, and they played their Mox Sapphire, so okay, they have Impulse. I was going to say it looks like they may have had a 2-mana counterspell, but maybe not. I feel like my deck will do okay against a blue control deck. I can play at instant speed. I have Teferi, which if I can resolve it, it's going to be really good. Obviously, they know about it now, so I don't have a lot of the cards in my hand that allow me to play at instant speed, but in general, I think my deck seems decent. I suppose I won't be doing anything on my turn while they have 3 mana up. So here's one of the cards that's an instant. That would be funny if I could just Brazen Borrower into Armageddon. So I can just jam Geist here. Geist is really good against blue. It's not like for sure that my opponent has a counterspell. If my opponent might be playing some sort of combo deck, in that case, I really want my Geist to be in play. So I could pass the turn and then end of turn play out my Brazen Borrower if my opponent does nothing. So or I can just cast my Geist. It'll probably get countered most of the time. Then my opponent will be free to do whatever they want on their turn. Yeah, I don't... There is a lot of upside in getting the Geist down, but I just feel like it's not going to resolve. And I would have played it if I didn't have the Brazen Borrower, though. So now my opponent has a swamp, so they can maybe spend their mana destroying my Brazen Borrower. My Teferi doesn't actually do a ton right now. Like, it protects me in the future from counter spells, which is great. So now I'm at the point where, yeah, I don't think I want to play the Teferi because Teferi protects me from my opponent, like just casting a big creature. So it's harder for them to tap out while I still have Teferi in hand. The same is not exactly can be said for Geist, but just given the fact I've seen a swamp now, like, playing the Geist can backfire in 2 ways. Maybe my opponent has a sweeper, or maybe my opponent has a counterspell. So just given the fact that my opponent has so much mana up, I feel like I should not play the Geist there. Let's see how good my opponent's Spellseeker targets are. Miscalculation. Not a great one to get, actually. So same spot, just gonna pass. I could play Armageddon. Like, I don't really care if they counter that. It's going to give them a good use of their miscalculation, but when they have miscalculation in hand, I'm probably never going to resolve this time warp. Like, I'm probably just not going to get to 7 lands in this game. I guess I could. They can deal with my Brazen Borrower. Will it be good if Armageddon resolves for me? They're going to need to have another black mana to deal with my Brazen Borrower because I am ahead on board. But they do have Mox in play, so yeah, given that I don't have access to their hand, like they might just have like Swamp Fatal Push in play or Bloodstained Mire Fatal Push. Like I could see that. I could definitely see that backfiring. I am going to need to play some spells at some point in this game. So now my Armageddon got a little bit better because they have another swamp in play. I don't even want to cast Condemn right now, even though it gets the Gonti out of range for my Geist. So they can't just block my Geist. They're probably going to counter this Armageddon if I play it, right? I think I kind of like need to spend some mana. I'm at 18. I don't think I'm going to lose a race exactly. It's kind of funny to fetch like this and then cast Armageddon. I guess I'll feel silly if this resolves and I just lose the game. Okay, so I got the miscalculation out of their hand. They at least can't cycle it. I feel like that was a good way to spend my turn and my Armageddon. Like, maybe my opponent was playing around a counterspell on my side, but I kind of don't think they were. I also just have Teferi, so if they tap out for something, I can bounce it. Okay, my opponent has an interesting spot here. Surprising that they didn't cast the click at instant speed during my combat step. They took my Geist. Interesting. So I think just casting Banishing Light on the click and just making them answer this Brazen Borrower seems like the best thing to do. I could Teferi and bounce it. I feel like whatever I cast here is probably getting countered. So which card do I want to get countered? And I think it's... maybe it is. Maybe Teferi is worse than Banishing Light. No, I think Teferi is the better card. So I imagine this will get countered. I'm going to pass with Condemn up. Oh, I walked right into that Spell Pierce. Totally forgot about that card. That Yeah, that was just a misplay. I knew I could pay for days, and I knew I could not pay for Mana Leak, but yeah, I just forgot about this card. That could actually cost this game. So I'm not going to play my planes. We'll see how that works out. I don't want my opponent to know that I have 5 mana available. Maybe they will tap out and play in such a way that I can use my Fractured Identity or Time Warp that they will not expect. So, they're not even attacking. I feel like I have to use the Condemn here. It's getting to the point where I'm like gonna die eventually. Yeah, I don't think they knew about the Condemn. So opponent's still representing Counterspell, but I'm just so far behind on board that it doesn't matter. So I'm going to cast my Teferi. If this resolves, it'll be really good because I'll get my Vendilion Click back. So they had Mana Drain. I feel like they may have had that the entire time. They didn't. The Bone Shredder might have been a relevant card in this game, but they didn't pay for it, so that's a bad sign. Okay. So they play Tasigur, and they still are holding up Cryptic Command and Mystic Confluence, and there's just really nothing I can do about that. So I think I need to resolve Fractured Identity here. And I guess I need to take the Tasigur. Yeah. Well, that's pretty much game. Not sure if I could have really played around any of these counter spells that they held up the entire game. Just the fact that my opponent had a Mox. Let's see, I give my opponent a card back. Yeah, I kind of feel like I could not have won this game. Armageddon is looking good. I was just dead on board there. So I like the Armageddon plan. Land tax is going to be out now. Anything that plays at instant speed is going to be good. So maybe Anguished Unmaking. Collective Brutality is good because like it just takes a counterspell out of their hand. So it's kind of just a matter of Sundering Titan is just so bad. It should probably just not be in my deck in the first place. So some of these black cards are good. It makes my deck less consistent though, but I feel like I might need to do that in order to win. Umezawa's Jite doesn't look great against what my opponent's doing. I'll bring in the Collective Brutality. Let me see, how many planes do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can I go down to 7? And just bring in another swamp. Yeah. Mesmeric Fiend would also be decent. I could take out Jite. Bring in the Fiend. Let's try this. This hand looks pretty good. It just needs black mana. Like, Geist is really good in this matchup. There's a chance if I can just play an early Geist, it can just win the game. I don't think I can keep this, though. Not with 2 black cards in my hand. Armageddon looks weak in this hand because I can't get on the board. Time Warp also looks weak. Maybe the Plains is also just weak because I need to draw blue mana. It's really hard to resolve Time Warp against my opponent. I could main phase Impulse, but I think it's okay if they want to counter it. Okay, so this is a... Yeah, I'm going to let this resolve. They can take my Impulse. Mana Drain is just such a good card that I feel like they might want to take it. So I don't want to Impulse in response and then give my opponent even more information. Even though Impulse is like the card I was going to cast, but I think that's fine. Okay, so yeah, there's just no way I can play something into their mana. It is a shame that they know about my Armageddon. We're just going to see who's going to be able to double spell in this game. Like, The fact that I missed a land drop, we'll see if my opponent misses any. I do need to find some more islands if I want to cast this Urza into Mana Drain. So I can fire off this Faith's Fetters. I think I'll wait though. I'm going to wait until I can hold up Mana Drain. Like at some point in this game, I'm going to need to cast spells. Like my opponent has a bit of an advantage because they have more lands than me. They have 7 lands, I have 5. These control matchups are like pretty tricky. I'm not going to say I'm the best at playing them, but making land drops is really important. Especially if you get towards the point where you have to start discarding, but I'm just going to keep holding up my Mana Drain. Not allowing my opponent to spend their mana. I'm not spending my mana, but they're also not spending theirs, so it's fine. So yeah, now they're using their Creeping Tar Pit, which I do want to cast Faith's Fetters on. Because that card will kill me eventually. Okay, we still haven't gotten there. I'm going to fire this card off. Yeah, this is just going to probably get countered. Seeing my opponent's hand is going to be really valuable. Wow, Cryptic Command. So I can Mana Drain that. My opponent knows I have Mana Drain. I can counter that and get a bunch of mana. And then I can cast Armageddon. Or I can use it to cast Faith's Fetters. Yeah, I think I have to counter it. Like, it's just going to be really good if I can... Resolving this Collective Brutality is really good in the first place. And then the fact that I'm going to maybe get this Mana Drain mana. Yeah, my opponent has Force of Will. Which makes sense. But, okay. We did get... They exiled their miscalculation. Bribery. Okay, so that's going to get my Angel of Invention. Angel of Invention is pretty good here. No, they got Geist. Okay. I mean, I can block that. So my opponent has a Mana Drain in their deck. So I assume that's what they're holding up. So the card that I will allow them to counter is going to be Thief of Sanity. It's really a shame that this Teferi... Okay. Undo. I'm going to cast Teferi, force them to counter it. If they don't counter it, then I'll be able to resolve my Thief of Sanity. So even though this Teferi is just not that good right now. I mean, it's good because of its passive ability. Okay, they let it resolve. So Not like this is an amazing position. I'm going to lose my Teferi. Yeah, just... I really do need to get an answer to Geist into play, though. Like, we'll see if the opponent is able to answer it. I still have the Urza in play, which is another answer. Yeah, they just had Mystic Confluence, so yeah, I'm just completely dead. Yeah, my opponent's deck is great. Literally, they just have every counterspell. I haven't seen actual counterspell, and I haven't seen Mana Leak, but I mean, it's a recipe for a really good deck. I don't think I could have played... I guess I could have played my last turn like my opponent was not holding up Mana Leak. Sorry, Mana Drain. And what would that line have looked like? Maybe I would have just played Urza. I would have pretty much been... I would have been weak to the same things, which are Mystic Confluence still would have bounced my Urza, so... But it is possible that I'm playing a little bit too conservative this game, given how far behind I am. Okay, so... I can cast one spell this turn. Resolving Angel of Invention would be pretty good. Maybe I could even win the game from that. It seems pretty good on this board. So let's... Faith's Fetters on Creeping Tar Pit is also going to be a strong play. And it would be nice if I could double spell, which maybe I can do next turn. If I draw a land, I can Thief of Sanity plus Faith's Fetters. So... Although I can Faith's Fetters now, and then next turn I can double spell with Thief of Sanity Urza. That's also pretty good. So let's just slow roll the Angel of Invention. It is pretty important to resolve this Faith's Fetters, because that Creeping Tar Pit's going to kill me eventually, because this game is going really long, but Angel of Invention having lifelink can also just erase the Creeping Tar Pit. So yeah, my opponent's representing Mana Drain pretty hard here. That Tasigur is pretty good just because it can attack me. I can remove it with Anguished Unmaking. I still want to hold on to this Angel of Invention. Like, maybe I can resolve it next turn after I get this Mana Drain out of my opponent's hand. So let's cast Revoker. I guess this is probably going to resolve. I'll call Tasigur, and then I need to cast something else here, which I'm just going to play the Urza. Like, I'm kind of hedging right now. I don't really want them to counter my Urza. I'd rather them counter my Thief of Sanity, but I don't want to just play the Thief of Sanity, have them not counter it, and then just win the game anyways against me. So now this turn I'm at 12. I gave my opponent one extra colorless mana by playing that Urza instead of Thief of Sanity. I'm going to go down to 2 here. Let's see what happens. Okay, Bone Shredder. I don't think my opponent meant to play that. Or maybe they did. So I think they have to kill that now. I haven't seen a ton of creature removal from my opponent yet. Okay, there's Thoughtseize, which is going to take my Angel of Invention. So I'm in some trouble now because I'm just going to take a lot of damage. And I'm not sure how I'm going to recover from it. My plan was to use the lifelink on Angel of Invention. Wow, they take Anguished Unmaking, which is kind of surprising. Wow, so they're just banking on this Tasigur using its ability, which is pretty good. My opponent has 5 mana. Wow, this game's actually getting kind of insane. I will give them back Trinket Mage. I actually need to start playing fast at this point, so I'm going to stop talking so much. Wow, that was a good one. And Night's Whisper. Pretty sick game we have going on right now. There's not a lot of good cards for me to give them with their Tasigur at the moment. I guess Spellseeker. Spellseeker might not have any more targets left in their deck. We'll see. I have to block their Tasigur at this point. My opponent has Trinket Mage in hand, and they have Night's Whisper. I have plenty of good draws in my deck. I have some removal left. Well, yeah, they're just going to draw all the cards in their deck. So this is going to be tough. Gonti's pretty good. Okay, yeah, that's going to seal the game. Yeah, they got the best card out of my deck with Gonti. I feel like we had a chance there for a second in this game. My opponent's deck, you know, they have a lot of counter spells, which is good, but they don't have a ton of action, and so it kind of shows you the power of Gonti in their deck, just being a defensive card that can also find versatile answers from the opponent's deck. So I feel like I'm pretty dead here. Yeah, I'm just dead on board. So we fought through all the counter spells, but it did not matter. Let's see. So I'm not dead. I can block the Tasigur, block a Servo, go to 1. Thief of Sanity, my opponent. Maybe if they have Memory Jar in their deck, I can deck them. So personally, I'm not above trying to win with that line. Let's see how it goes. I am at 1. Scarab God, which can get back. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to hit something off of this Thief of Sanity. Wait, can they block it? No. Thief does mill them, actually. So yeah, I guess I was like a little bit closer to winning this than I thought. My opponent with the 7 cards left. Yeah, I'm taking them down to 4 cards here. They're going to draw 3 cards left. So yeah, they're actually... I just kind of doubt there's anything I can get here, though. That's going to like stop all of their creatures. But I mean, we'll see what's in their deck. Interesting. Okay. If there's a Time Walk in their deck, this could work. Okay, I have to take Gitaxian Probe. Okay, let me think for a second. You may look at and cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana. So yeah, I cannot cast Ancestral Vision. Just had to check that. Wow, I actually have an out because there's a Time Warp in my deck. This is actually hilarious. Although, actually, okay, Scarab God is in play. And it's going to drain me, but that's okay. Choose target player. Okay, draw Time Warp? No. Okay, yeah, now I'm dead. Well, I'm glad I didn't concede because I actually had some outs there. That was kind of sick. I gave myself a chance to draw a Time Warp from my deck or my opponent's deck. So GG's to the opponent. Thanks, guys, for watching. See you next time.